Good afternoon. It is 1 o'clock on Friday, August 30th. My name is Larry Cedar, and I'm back with you for another session on scanning, Sqanning. Scanning is a relaxation technique which utilizes the incremental release of muscular tension, tiny incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical, emotional, and mental calm. So here we are again. Got a little bit of a late start today, but doing what I'm want to do, which is practice everyday scanning. I do it myself on my own time, and I also try to do a session here every day publicly. If you should be interested, if this seems of value to you, it is a very simple technique, and I'm going to show it to you right now. Squeeze your hands together. 3, 2, 1, release. That's scanning. What you're doing is you're releasing muscular tension, but you're bringing that process under your control. This to give yourself the sense, the understanding that you have it within you to what I call expand. In life, we move between two basic states, contraction and expansion. Contraction and expansion. We tend to be more contracted, particularly when we're worried, we're anxious, we're having obsessive thoughts, we're physically racked with pain or discomfort. We tend to be contracted. Contracted is frequently fear-based. Contraction is frequently fear-based, meaning that we react to threatening or dangerous or disturbing circumstances by contracting. Our muscles contract to protect ourselves. Our mind contracts to protect ourselves. So we tend to move into a contracted state fairly frequently, particularly these days when there's so much stress in the world politically, health-wise, with COVID and all that stuff. We tend to be very contracted. So there's solutions for contraction, and that is to expand. Now, there's a number of ways you can expand. You can do it chemically through drugs or alcohol. You can go see someone like a masseuse or a chiropractor who can release that tension and help you expand. You can go to, as I said, a therapist where you can talk your way out of it. You can have all these contracted obsessive thoughts, and they can help you ease those thoughts and release and let go. Or you can use scanning. Now, the reason I like scanning is this. I tend to be a very thinky person. I tend to want to think my way out of problems or think my way out of situations which are difficult. When in fact, sometimes the best thing to do is to not think, but to just move yourself into a physically expanded state. So the beauty of scanning is that it's not based on any thought process. It's not based on any philosophy. It's not based on any way of thinking of things. It's not based on any kind of mental manipulation. You literally use the muscles, which are rather dumb. They only know how to contract or expand, to move yourself and your brain, your mind, into a more expanded state, because the body, the physical body and the brain are connected. As you release tension in your body, so your mind also lets go of all the obsessive thoughts and worries and concerns you're carrying around with you, which are making you unhappy. So that's all we do here. We practice releasing muscular tension. Now, if you trust that process and you believe in the simplicity of that process, you may be surprised at the benefits of that process. And the reason I say is because it seems so simple it can't be true. But the amazing thing is no matter what situation you're in, no matter how difficult the circumstances, no matter how obsessively you're thinking or worrying about something, and this is a contracted state, using your muscles to guide you, to lead you out of that contracted state is all that's sometimes required to clear your mind. And as I said, I'm a particularly obsessive thinker, and it's sometimes hard to trust that manipulating the muscles will affect your mind, but it does. So let's start. Let's just try. If you're willing to take a risk on this technique and trust that it can work for you, it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't require that you read any book or understand any complex concepts or ideas. It just requires letting go of muscular tension. So let's start. 15 minutes a day. I try to do this session for 15 minutes. I do sessions of a half an hour to an hour when I'm so inclined. But any amount of expansion will balance the contraction in your life. Contraction, expansion. So here we go. Squeeze your hands together, tight, 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 and feel contraction. Just sit with that for a minute. So this is what we do 90% of the day. We do it physically, we do it mentally. We bring together thoughts, ideas, physical effort, concepts, worries, concerns, creative projects. We contract, we bring things together. And that's fantastic. That's how we get things done. That's what defines us as a human being. The bringing together of muscles and skin and flesh and bone and a soul just to have a human being. So we contract, and that's good. But we need to balance that. When we're overly contracted, we feel bad. So what do? 3, 2, 1, and release. Take a deep breath. And another. And another. Now just sit for 15 seconds in absolute stillness and silence. So you just expanded. It's very important to remember that even the smallest amount of expansion is of great value. You can't contract and expand at the same time. You can't squeeze your hands together and release that tension at the same time. So any amount of expansion is moving you away from contraction. And I say this because sometimes people say, well, I don't have the time to meditate. I don't have the time to scan. I don't have the time. That's why I'm so tense. I can't take the time to let go. Take 30 seconds. It'll make all the difference in the world. Then take another 30 seconds. And begin to condition yourself to understand that you have the power, you have the control at any time to expand. So you can regulate yourself throughout the day so you don't get into such a deeply contracted state that you can't get out. You're trapped, you're stuck. And believe me, I've been there. Do it again. Squeeze your hands together, tight, tight, tight. That's contraction. Feel it. That's you. That's all your worries. That's all your concerns. That's all your obsessive thoughts. That's all your anxiety. That's all your physical pain and tension. That's all your obsessive concerns about any number of things which might be happening in your life, and that's fine. We're human beings. That's the direction we move in. We try to solve problems, but you have the control. You have the power to reverse it. 3, 2, 1, and release. And you feel that difference? You just released. You expanded. Take a deep breath. Another. One more. 15 seconds, absolute stillness and silence. So stillness is expansive. Action is contractive. Taking action, taking steps to bring things together is contraction. Stillness is the cessation of that process. So you have in effect begun to expand. Breaths are expansive because obviously you're expanding your lungs and you're having to let go. Muscular tension keeps us from breathing. You ever find yourself holding your breath when you're tense? Someone says, take a breath. You go, what? Oh, oh my God, I didn't even realize I wasn't breathing. So breaths, stillness, silence, muscular release. We're all moving ourselves out of a contracted state into a more expanded state. And I try to speak less and less as we do these sessions because words are a contraction. Words are a bringing together of sounds and sentences and letters and consonants and vowels to create an idea, which I will then pass on to you. But ultimately, to be expanded is to be nothing, to be silent, to be empty. And if you see a similarity in this technique to things like meditation, yes, there's an absolute similarity. Many self-help techniques, spiritual practices are related to each other because we all have these similar mechanisms in us which help us become more centered, more calm. So this is very similar to that in many ways. The difference is, this technique, I talk a lot about the release of muscular tension. So now we're going to move into what I call the nuts and bolts of the technique, which is the actual release of muscular tension. So we move through the body. It's called scanning because what we're doing is we're moving through the body. We're scanning the body, looking for pockets of muscular tension. And you all know where you carry them. Some people carry tension in their neck, their hands, their face, their back, their hips, their feet. There's tension pockets everywhere. So we're going to work our way, scan our way through the body to search out and release pockets of muscular tension. Again, the theory being that by releasing muscular tension, we will move our entire being into a more expanded state, which will in turn affect the mind, which is a brain, which is a muscle of sorts, holding on tight to ideas and thoughts and worries. The mind will relax. They will all float away, and you will be left in a state of calm. So we start with zone 1, the face. Now we use our face a lot, so make a lot of faces. See how those muscles we have? We have a lot of control over the facial muscles. So we start there, I call it zone 1, because we're familiar with tensing and releasing the muscles of our face. So on my count, I want you to completely release all the tension that you can in your face. Now that might be just a slight shift, but watch for that shift. It's not important that you release a lot of tension. It's important that you release some tension and that you experience it, register, feel it. Feel the difference between being contracted and expanded. On my count, the face. 3, 2, 1, and release. You'll feel a sort of drooping sensation. You can even see it if you look in the mirror. Muscular release. We just expanded. Tiny bit. Do you feel it? That sensation. We're going to keep adding to that and expanding until the momentum of expansion has overcome and reversed the contractive process. We're contracting, but we're going to start moving into an expanded state, bit by bit, incrementally. The face, 3, 2, 1, and release. Take a deep breath. So you just expanded. Zone 2, the top of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. You feel that? All we're doing is looking for tiny amounts of muscular release and registering that sensation, studying it, becoming familiar with it, becoming a connoisseur of expansion and relaxation, getting just as good as expansion as we are at contracting, because we're all very good at contracting. We all know how to worry. We all know how to think. We all know how to effort. We all know how to, rack ourselves with physical tension. We do that all day. What we've lost touch with, what we've lost our sense and ability to do, is to the opposite, expand. Zone 3, the back of the head, 3, 2, 1, and release. Feel that? And my shoulders just dropped. Now, other parts of your body will begin to join in as you do this, because the message is being sent that, it's time to stop contracting and start expanding. So let that happen. Zone 4 is the neck. 3, 2, 1, and release. And sometimes when you release a muscle, you'll feel an impulse to breathe, because your body, which has been holding on tight, has not been breathing. So as you begin to expand, you're freeing that musculature up. Your body is oxygen depleted from all that contraction, and it'll say, oh, it's okay to breathe now. It's safe. It's time. Take that breath. Zone 4, again, the neck. 3, 2, 1, and release. And I'm moving fairly quickly through these because I like to keep these sessions short, so that they serve just as basically a reminder of the technique. What I'm hoping is you'll take it and you'll go practice for a half an hour or an hour. Really take the time to study this process of expansion and release, to see what it feels like, to become, as I said, a connoisseur, an expert at expansion. Zone 5 is the shoulders. Let them drop 1 millimeter. 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. Again, the shoulders. 3, 2, 1, and release. So now we've done the face, the top of the head, the back of the head, the neck, and the shoulders. You're moving your body into a more expanded state. Again, the shoulders. 3, 2, 1, and release. Zone 6 is the chest, the stomach, the front of the waist. 3, 2, 1, and release. So now you're starting to feel this wave of relaxation come over you. Sometimes I laugh at myself because I'm completely unaware of how much tension I'm carrying. But as I start to expand, as I start to release, I go, whoa, I've been really holding it together, keeping it together. You know that expression? Keep it together. That's what we've been doing, trying to keep it together. We're all trying not to fall apart. But with expansion, you're trying to fall apart. Let yourself fall apart. Just let yourself fall apart. Slump into your chair. Let all that tension go. All that tension you've been holding in the musculature of your body as a means of self-defense against the world. Let it go. You're safe. You're just sitting in a chair. You're not going anywhere. Zone 6, the chest, the stomach, front of the waist. 3, 2, 1, and release. Zone 7, down the back and into the pelvis. See if you can tune into how those muscles are feeling at this moment. Sometimes it's like, I don't know what I feel in those areas. That's okay. Just imagine. Just imagine this to this. This to this. Or make a fist, this to this. The face, this to this. That's all you're doing. That slight shift. If you feel it, you've succeeded. Doesn't matter how big the release. If you feel that shift, you're on your way. Down the back, zone 7, and into the pelvis. 3, 2, 1, and release. Let go. Zone 8, down the legs and into the feet. 3, 2, 1, and release. Deep breath. Again, think of your feet. Concentrate on how they feel. Register how much tension there might be in them. And shift that tension away. Let go 1% of the tension in your feet. 3, 2, 1, and release. Now, for a lot of people, this feels very dangerous. You're letting down your defenses. You're letting down your physical guard, your muscular guard. We don't wear armor, but we have a sort of a muscular guard that prepares us to enter the world. So it feels like you're really making yourself very vulnerable when you let go of muscular tension. And in a way you are. But you're in a safe room. You're sitting in a chair. You're not going anywhere. You can afford to take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes and let all that go. See, we forget. As a defense mechanism, the body feels that it must stay in a protective state. And sometimes we just have to say, it's okay. It's all right. And we instinctively know that being overly contracted is not good for us. We feel terrible. This is why we say, damn, I need a drink, or I need a joint, or I need to get to the therapist, or I need to go to the masseuse or the chiropractor, whatever it is we do, because it's oppressive. Contraction can be oppressive. Our own bodies can turn against us in an effort to defend us. But you can learn a technique which allows you to take control of that. And it's a technique that's very simple, very easy. And you may say, well, how long do I have to practice for? Well, as much as you like. What's important is that you build this awareness of your ability to control your state of being. It's very empowering. And life starts to seem less threatening because you don't always have to be concerned about moving into this state of contraction. Like, I'm so tense, I'm so stressed, I think I'm losing it mentally or physically. You have the lifesaver, you have the tool to bring you out of that at any given moment. Release muscular tension. Squeeze your hands together. 3, 2, 1, release. Take a deep breath. It's almost too simple. That's why you'll never see a book about this technique. You'll never see a class taught about this technique. I can tell you in 2 seconds. You don't need to pay anybody to learn this technique. You don't need to go anywhere or do anything. It's within you. You just need to remind yourself and practice. So that's why I come here for these sessions now. I've made them shorter now, and that's about 15 minutes, so that's all I'm going to do. Just to serve as a reminder. If you want to touch base, you want to remind yourself how the process works. As I said, when I do these sessions for myself, I'll typically take half hour to an hour. And I try to do it a couple of times a day to keep myself in balance, to move from a contracted state into an expanded state to where I'm balanced. You don't want to be completely expanded. Then you disappear. You're gone. You want to live a life. You want to be a human being who works hard and thinks hard and worries about things and has emotions. That's to be human. You don't want that to go away. That's who we are. But you do want to balance yourself and discover that you have the ability to do that by simply releasing muscular tension in very small, incremental ways. Trust it. You never have to feel that you haven't got the time for this or it's not working. It is working. 10 seconds. 3, 2, 1. Relax your whole body. Go. You just did it. And then do it as much as you like. Customize it. And that's it for today. It's called Sqanning, Sqanning. Sqanning is a relaxation technique which utilizes the incremental release of muscular tension to achieve a deep state of physical, emotional, and mental calm. The body, the relaxation of the body, will in turn relax the mind. You will bring yourself to a place of quiet, stillness, and calm. A healing place, a joyful place, a generous place, because you're giving to yourself, and then you can in turn give more to others. And try to get there a couple times a day. I will repost this session on my Facebook page. I'll also repost it on the Sqanning Facebook page, Sqanning. Just do a search for it on Facebook. You'll see it, and all my previous sessions are there, some longer than others. And thanks for visiting. And I always end every session with rule number 1, love yourself. When you love yourself, you can more fully love others. Loving yourself is the most expansive act you can take in the universe because you are opening yourself up to and accepting who and what you are for better or worse, which in turn teaches you to embrace others for what they are. You become a less contracted, a more expanded, open, permeable, willing, loving person. And that just feels better. Have yourself a great day. Take care. Talk soon. Bye-bye.